Shalom everyone. In today's video, we will be going through gates 5, 6, and 7 in the 50 gates of understanding. For all of those who would like to follow along, there is a QR code that you may obtain a copy of Likutei Yira absolutely for free. Just scan the QR and download it. We have also started a WhatsApp group. I will leave a link down below if you would like to join and follow for future updates and upcoming projects. Without further ado, let us begin. Gate 5, the Endless Part 2. In the beginning was the Endless, and the Endless extended to the boundary of the Endless, and there was no end to its boundary. When it arose in his desire that he might bring forth existence, he restricted himself, withdrawing his presence, creating a vacancy that the Endless would both be a part of and separated from existence. Light cannot be applied here, as the light itself is divided by the principle as yellow, aleph, mixes with red, shin, to create orange, and blue, mem, to create green, though its presence is likened to light. This is because the aforementioned principle of aleph separates mem from shin that was discussed in the prior gates is self-evident here in the light, because yellow mixes with blue to create green, and yellow mixes with red to create orange. Thus, this process of aleph separating mem from shin appears here in the light, and as a result, light cannot actually be applied to it because it supersedes the light. Gate 6, the restriction. Thus the Endless restricted itself precisely in the center. It restricted its own presence, that there would be both a vacancy in which the worlds both upper and lower could be brought forth. Thus the Endless would both be a part of and separated from existence. This restriction was from all directions, creating depth and density. From this we can understand that on the largest and smallest scales, everything is circular. Let us analyze the secret of this state. The vacancy now created in which the worlds would be brought forth into existence formed within the Endless itself. As there was no boundary to the Endless, it remained surrounding the vacancy. This is referred to in Kabbalah as TzimTzum, or contraction. As the Endless withdrew its presence, various degrees of density were formed by which space and light would begin its principles of expression. We can see this as light is differentiated by varying degrees of vibration. All vibrates. The Endless restricted itself in concentric circles, as mentioned in Arizal. Thus we learn that the Endless withdrew itself to create both depth and density. We learn from this that light, which this is sometimes akin to, is differentiated by varying degrees of vibration, an example in varying degrees of the density of the restriction, and so too is this applied to the light, as will be explained later. Gate 7. Circular on the largest scale. We see, as with the Endless extending to the boundary of the Endless in all directions, that this creates a circle. Regarding this, we find that when we go to the planetary and universal scales, we find everything revolving in circular aspects. Concentric circles. Take time to see this state of awe and reality. Consciously observe the revolving circular aspects of billions of galaxies, all defined by aleph separates mem from shin, being every planet a body of solids or liquids and solids separated from a centralized star by space, and revolving in concentric circles, all in the secret of the restriction. Thus, at the highest level, just as the light extended to the boundary of the endless and there was no end to its boundary, which creates a circle, so too do we see at the largest scale things revolving in the secret of circular aspects. Circular on the smallest scale, according to the restriction of the endless, from all directions we find on the smallest scale everything is revolving in circular aspects, as is clearly demonstrated by the atom. As with light and sound, all of their expressions are in the secret of circular aspects, as both of these principles were laid forth at the time of the restriction. Take time and shine a light. Observe its circular expression. Realize the revolving aspects of the highest and lowest levels. Thus we see at the smallest scale, electrons are revolving around protons and neurons separated by space, but everything is in the secret of circular aspects. So we can see here the Kether of the Atik, as was mentioned in the earlier gates, being associated with Lashon HaKodesh, or the 22 letters. We see at the very top right, the principle of Aleph separates Mem from Shin, which we learned in our previous gates. Now we're looking at what's called the Hokmah of the Atik, or the TzimTzum, the restriction. We see how the light restricted itself within the endless from all directions precisely in the center. We see that it was in the secret of concentric circles. Now this is the level in which the Nikudim are attributed. The term Nikud means vowels, and these are in the secret of points, and these points are in the secret of the concentric circles of the restriction. We learn from this that sound actually emanates in circular aspects. So we see sound emanating in the secret of the TzimTzum, circularly. And we also see light emanating in the secret of the TzimTzum, an example, circularly. This concept will be expounded upon in more detail in Gate 8. But for now, consider how everything on the largest scale is in the secret of circular or revolving aspects, and everything in the smallest scale is in the secret of circular and revolving aspects. Take time to realize that planets are in the secret of circular and revolving aspects, separated from a centralized star by space, all revolving in concentric circles. And also notice how on the smallest scale, in regards to the atom, that electrons are revolving, protons and neutrons, so on and so forth. Now there's much more that can be explained, but we will go into deeper detail in the next gate. The Zohar states here, Baresh Ornuta de Melacha, Galif Galufe, Batachiru Ila'a, Botina de Karninuta, Venafik Gostim Destimo, Miraza de Ein Sof. With the beginning of the manifestation of the king's will, that is, when the king desired to emanate and create the world, a hard spark made an engraving upon the supernal light. This hard spark, which emanated from the most concealed of all concealed things, from the secret of the endless light, took a shapeless form. The spark was then inserted into the center of a circle that was neither white, nor black, nor red, nor green, nor any color at all. When it began its measurements, it created colors that shone into the empty space and the engraving from within the hard spark. This hard spark, a fountain spouted, from which the shades down below received their colors. Thus we see mentionings of the TzimTzum and the restriction in the secret of a circle, and a hard spark being placed in the center of a circle, all in the secret of the beginning of measurements. And all of this is in the secret of the word Bereshis, or in the beginning, an engraving upon the supernal light in the secret of the Ein Sof, which is what the TzimTzum is attributed to. So with this being said, contemplate all of these things very carefully, and we'll continue them deeper in Gate 8. Shalom and Selah.